Hello, my beautiful souls. Welcome back to Love Arcana Vault. We're going straight into this because there is a message coming toward you, but the reason behind it may surprise you. Somebody never truly moved on. They may have acted like they were fine. They may have gone quiet. They may have posted, smiled, distracted themselves, kept busy, maybe even entertained other options. But energetically, this person is still riding around with your name stitched into their thoughts. And look at this first card coming through, Knight of Wands. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. This is not giving calm, slow, carefully prepared energy. This feels like somebody whose feelings are starting to outrun their pride. There is movement here. There is impulse here. There is a person who has been trying to hold back, but their emotions are becoming louder than their ego. This may not be for everybody, so take what resonates. But for a lot of you, this is someone you already know. This does not feel like a brand new stranger wandering into your life with a bouquet and a playlist. This feels like someone circling back. There's something about this person where they may have been very passionate, very magnetic, very intense when things were good, but inconsistent when things became real. They could come in hot, make you feel chosen, make you feel seen, and then suddenly pull back when vulnerability entered the room. The Knight of Wands is showing me somebody who has a fire inside them, but in the past, they may not have known how to carry that fire without burning the bridge. And now this is where it gets interesting. I feel like this person has been replaying a moment between you two. It could be the last conversation, the way things ended, something they said too quickly, something they didn't say at all. There is an unfinished sentence in this energy. Something was left hanging, and even if they acted like they closed the chapter, their spirit never put the book down. For some of you, this person is watching from a distance. Not always in a creepy way, but in that quiet, let me just check if they're okay kind of way. They may look at your photos, your posts, your name, old messages, or even songs that remind them of you. I'm just reading the energy. And the energy says they learned how to be silent, but they did not learn how to be detached. This Knight of Wands is also telling me the message may come suddenly, a text, a missed call, a reaction to a story, something casual on the surface, but underneath it, there is a whole thunderstorm wearing sunglasses, they might say. Hey, how have you been? But what they really mean is, I have been thinking about you more than I want to admit. They never truly moved on. They just kept moving. And now, they're realizing movement is not healing. Distraction is not closure. Pride is not peace. But you, beautiful soul, you're not in the same place anymore. You may still care, but you are not as easily pulled by sparks alone. You're going to have to decide what you want, because this person is coming in with heat, but you need consistency, honesty, and emotional maturity. So the first message is clear they want back in, but they may test the door before they knock properly. And that is exactly why, beautiful soul, they may come in sideways at first, because if they come in too honestly, they are afraid you may not open that door at all. Now look at this card coming through, Judgment. I can't make this up. This is literally the energy of a wake-up call, a realization, a moment where somebody can no longer keep pretending they do not hear what their own heart has been saying. And with this little trumpet energy here, I do feel a message, a call, something that breaks the silence. But emotionally, this is bigger than just communication. This is somebody being forced to look at themselves. I'm going to be honest with you. Judgment tells me this person has been sitting with the consequences of how they handled you. Not just missing you, not just feeling nostalgic, but actually reviewing the way they showed up, the inconsistency, the hot and cold behavior, the moments where they gave you passion, but not reassurance, the times they wanted your warmth, but did not know how to protect your heart. Take what resonates, because for some of you, this person hid behind humor. They made things casual when the connection was clearly not casual. For others, they hid behind work, stress, family issues, money, timing, distance, or that famous little mask called, "I'm just not ready." And maybe that was true at the time, but the thing is, their silence did not erase the bond. It only made the unspoken feelings louder. There's something about this person where they thought time would make you easier to forget. They thought if they stayed busy enough, if they kept moving, if they didn't look directly at the connection, it would eventually lose power. But Judgment is saying, no, the heart has a way of calling people back to the places where they left truth unfinished. And now this is where it gets interesting, because I don't think they expected you to become this hard-to-access before. They may have felt like they could sense where you stood. Maybe you used to respond quickly. Maybe you used to explain yourself. Maybe you used to reach out when the silence became too heavy. Maybe you were the one trying to keep the connection alive while they were still deciding whether they were brave enough to meet you there. But now your energy feels different, quieter, more guarded, not bitter, but wiser. And I feel like they can sense that. They can feel that the same little message that may have worked before might not be enough this time. Some of you have been seeing signs before this message comes in. Repeating numbers, their name popping up, dreams that feel too vivid, songs that drag the memory right into the room. Or maybe you just get that strange feeling in your body, like someone is thinking about you right before they appear again. I'm just reading the energy, but this feels like that moment before the phone lights up, where your intuition already knows something is shifting. Now, does that mean you need to run toward this? No, absolutely not. You're going to have to decide what you want, because judgment is not just about them waking up. It is also about you seeing clearly. Are they returning because they are lonely? Are they returning because another situation did not work out? Are they returning because they finally understand your value? Or are they returning because they are ready to be accountable in a way they were not before? That is the question. Because the real reason they are nervous is not because they stopped caring. The real reason they are nervous is because they know they cannot come back as the same person who left you confused. They know the old version of them may not be enough anymore. And that brings us right into the next card, because now we're looking at how they see you after all of this. I feel like your energy has become the very thing pulling them back in. Now, look at this card coming through the Devil. And before anybody gets nervous, I want to be very clear. I'm not reading this as something dark or scary. I'm reading this as attachment, desire, temptation, the part of this connection that neither one of you could fully explain, even when it got complicated. This is that energy of, why do I still feel them? This is that pull that remains even after time. Distance, silence, pride, and every logical reason to let it go. I'm going to be honest with you. This person sees you as someone they cannot easily detach from. They may not say it like that. They may not even admit that to themselves in a calm, mature way, but energetically. This is somebody who still feels tied to you. They remember the chemistry. They remember the way you made them feel wanted, understood, challenged, and exposed all at the same time. There's something about this person where you brought out a side of them they could not control. And I don't mean control in a manipulative way. I mean emotionally. You got under the armor. You reached a place they usually keep locked, and because they did not know what to do with that, they may have tried to turn the connection into something smaller than it was. Casual, undefined, inconsistent. A little flame they could visit when they felt brave. Instead of a fire, they were responsible for tending. But now, beautiful soul, your energy has shifted. And this is where the Devil becomes very interesting, because I feel like they used to think they knew how to pull you back in. Maybe a sweet message, maybe a little memory, maybe that familiar tone, maybe showing up with passion and acting like nothing happened. But now they are not so sure. They may feel that your silence is different. Not silent because you are waiting. Silent because you are choosing peace. Take what resonates. But some of you stopped explaining yourself. You stopped sending paragraphs. You stopped trying to prove that the connection mattered. You stopped chasing clarity from somebody who was still hiding behind confusion. And now they are looking at you like, wait, do they still care? Are they seeing someone else? Did they finally heal from me? Would they even answer if I reached out? I can't make this up, because the Devil is also showing me that they are tempted to check, tempted to message, tempted to test your energy. They may be wondering if the bond is still there. But the difference is, they can no longer assume that your heart is sitting unlocked with the light on. And that is part of what is pulling them back in. They never moved on, but they hid it. They tried to dress it up as independence, being busy, being unbothered, being in control. But what I'm seeing here is that control did not bring them peace. It just made them more aware of how strongly they still feel your absence. Now, I do want to say this gently. The Devil can also show old patterns. So, this person may be aware, whether consciously or not, that the two of you had a cycle, passion, distance, longing, return, heat, silence, confusion, apology, And you are not here to repeat a cycle just because someone misses the version of you that tolerated it. That's important. Because they see you differently now. They see you as more powerful, more private, harder to reach. They may even feel like you have taken your energy back from the chain. And for someone who is used to feeling your emotional availability, that is a mirror they did not want to face. So now the question becomes, when they come forward, is it because they truly want to change the pattern, or because they feel the pull and they are panicking? So let's bring the energy together now, because the action coming toward you is sitting between all three cards. Now, with the Knight of Wands, Judgment, and the Devil sitting here together, I'm going to be honest with you, this looks like somebody moving from impulse into realization, and then bumping right into the attachment they tried to deny. So what action is coming? For many of you, this does feel like communication that starts small. Not a grand speech right away. Not a perfectly polished confession with music playing in the background. This feels like a message that tries to look casual. But it is carrying a lot more weight than the words are showing. They may say something simple. Hey, I was thinking about you. Hope you've been good. I saw something that reminded me of you. For some of you. It could be a reaction to a story, a late-night message, a sudden call, or an excuse that feels a little too convenient. And you may sit there looking at your phone like, really? After all this time, that's how you're coming in. But underneath that little doorway of a message is a much bigger question. Is there still a place for me in your life? That is what they are really asking. I'm just reading the energy. But this person may not come in fully exposed at first because Judgment is showing that they know a real conversation is required. And the Devil is showing that the pull is intense enough to make them act before they know exactly what to say. So you may get the first message before they have built the courage for the real confession. And now, this is where it gets interesting. The Knight of Wands tells me the urge to contact you may come suddenly. Judgment tells me they are not just bored. They are being confronted by something inside themselves. And the Devil tells me they are still emotionally tied to the bond. Still tempted, still remembering, still wondering why this connection has not faded the way others did. If this person could say what they are really feeling without pride, without strategy, without trying to protect their image, it would sound something like, I thought I could move on. I thought, if enough time passed, I would stop feeling this. I thought I could distract myself, replace the feeling, stay busy, act fine. But every time I tried to move away from your energy, something pulled me back to the truth that nobody felt like you. Now, will they say it exactly like that? Maybe not. This person still has pride. They may dress the confession in smaller words, they may test your temperature before they step into the deeper water, but their actions are going to show you that this is not as finished for them as they tried to make it seem. Take what resonates, because I also see you being pulled and guarded at the same time. Part of you remembers the chemistry. Part of you remembers the way their energy could light up a room inside your chest. But another part of you remembers the inconsistency, the confusion, the waiting, the way you had to make peace without the apology you deserved. So no, beautiful soul, you are not being asked to chase. You are not being asked to prove your worth. You are not being asked to reopen the door just because someone finally feels the weight of your absence. You're going to have to decide what you want. And the decision is not just, do I still love them? The deeper decision is, can this person meet me differently now? Because missing you is not the same as wanting access is not the same as being accountable. Feeling chemistry is not the same as being ready for love that requires honesty, steadiness, and emotional responsibility. This person may be returning because they never truly released the connection. They may be coming back because the silence became too loud, because the desire never left, because judgment finally made them face what they avoided. But you, beautiful soul, get to observe. You get to listen. You get to watch whether their actions match their words. If this reading resonated, like the video, subscribe to Love Arcana Vault, and comment I received clarity so I know this message found the right person. I'm sending you love, protection, and clear guidance until the next reading.